This video is to just familiarize yourself with the process of opening up data in ArcMap, the GIS software we'll be using, and then just some basic navigation and measurement, some of which will be reiterated during the lab session, but it's always good to get started early. So what I have here, this is a file with all of our data in it that you will download in class just from Blackboard, and it will be in a zip file. It will be compressed. And so the first thing we need to do is extract it. So I'm going to right click, extract all, and this is important. So this is where you decide where to put it. You will be saving it to your thumb drive. That is going to be where you want to save all of your data. So for me, I'm just going to, I don't have a thumb drive, so I'm going to put it in ctemp and extract it. And so that unzipped the data, and this is the GIS data we'll be working with. So also a good idea to just, while you're in here, just copy the path to where your data lives, so you just have it. Now we can close this. Now you will have opened ArcMap, and let's add some data. So the first thing you need to do is go over to the catalog, and you need to tell ArcMap where you have data. And pretend you didn't see this. So you don't see your thumb drive right now in this list of folder connections. So what you're going to want to do is go to connect to folder and look for your thumb drive. So it might be a USB drive, something like that. Again, for me, I put it in ctemp, and so I will make a folder connection. Now I can access my data, and you can see that I've got AU CHM, whatever that is, and AU trees. So I'm going to bring them in. Drag and drop CHM, and drag and drop trees on top. Okay, so that's kind of the housekeeping. We've got our data in here. Now, what are we looking at? So first of all, we've got some toolbars up here. Yours might be a little different, but most of the standard tools will be the same, where you've got your ability to zoom and pan and zoom to the full extent of all your data. So for instance, if I zoom in on campus here, I can also then zoom back to the full extent. I can maybe zoom in here, and then I can zoom, right click in here and zoom to a layer. So zoom to all of the data, all of the trees. Can do the same for this. So that's how you kind of get around. You can pan if you want to also. We're going to be focusing on campus, so I'm going to zoom in right there. A couple other key tools here are identify. And so I might want to know information about the trees that I have in here. And so to do that, I can click that identify tool and then click on anything. So it'll show me the topmost layer by default, and it will show me that that tree is an Acer saccharinum. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that is a silver maple. And you can see all of the data that Facilities has captured, although I've eliminated a bunch of it, but some of the data that they've captured about each of these trees, including the DBH. You can also just click on values in this CHM, and CHM stands for Canopy Height Model. And as you may be able to tell, all it is pixels that are colored to represent the height of the thing in the pixel. And so it's showing you the height of either tree canopy, or also buildings are considered part of the urban canopy. So Canopy Height Model just means a representation of the heights of stuff wherever you are. Not the elevations, but the heights above the ground. So the ground is generally, theoretically should be 0. Not always 0, because the data are imperfect, but it should be 0. And then like this tree right here is 20 meters tall. And this building is 12 meters tall. The final tool that I'll introduce is the measurement tool. So this is pretty useful. Fundamental to GIS is making measurements of stuff. And so if I wanted to take a measurement of, I think this is Anderson, I could be wrong. If I wanted to measure the width of it, I can click that measurement tool, and now I've got my line. I'm measuring a line, and I want to make sure that I'm measuring, the distance and in meters. So now the width of this building is about 13 meters. Maybe this is Anderson. I still get confused. The width of this one is 21 meters. And what we'll be doing in the lab is measuring the widths of tree crowns. So this is an easy one. So the width of this one is about 16 meters. I don't really care if you measure it this way or this way, whatever, they're pretty close. You got these low little ones here. You know, this one might be like 7 meters. Some of them are harder to tell, but we'll just do our best when we get to it. The last thing I'll show here is just how to change symbology, meaning how are we displaying the data on these maps. So this is kind of a boring way to show AU trees. There's a lot more data that we can use to visually enhance the utility of the map. So in this case, I'll do by species first, or by genus, which is the one higher up category than species. Do genus, add all values. It's kind of an ugly, or not the greatest use of pastel here. Apply that, and now you can see that these trees are actually labeled by their genus and can start to give us some ideas about the distribution of different tree species and the spatial distribution of biodiversity on AU campus. You can also see that the legend for those colors shows up here, even though it's not particularly useful because there's just so many genuses. Alternatively, you can go in here and attribute by, or symbolize, by quantity. So if we wanted to do colors that were based on DBH, we could do that. And I'm just gonna make, make these bigger. So properties for all symbols, properties for selected symbols, make these bigger. Now we can see these a little better. So you can see small DBH is gonna be blue and big is gonna be red. So it shows you the distribution of tree sizes around campus. So that's just a few of the things you can do and how to get started.